She looked at it and said out loud, "I want some fried chicken right now." The whole office lost it. He banned Braille on clothing. I came back Monday with a landscape painting on my shirt. He stared at it and scratched his head. "The clouds look like chicken." I shrugged. "Sir, that sounds like a personal problem." He stood there for 5 minutes trying to find a rule against chicken-shaped clouds. That afternoon, his voice came over the intercom. "The dress code is done, but if I see one more piece of fried chicken imagery in any form, you are all getting suspended." The whole thing died down for a while, until a few weeks later, the principal walked into the cafeteria on Fried Chicken and Watermelon Day. He looked around at the plates, his eyes rolled back, and he fainted. They rushed him out on a stretcher. I pulled the lever and hit the jackpot, winning $300,000. But when I went to collect, there was a problem. The owner showed me a picture of my own face on their card counters list and said I was banned, so they couldn't give me the money. Now, this was my first time at a casino ever, so I argued this was impossible. They took me into the back and showed me footage from a few days ago. The man on it counting cards was definitely me. How was this possible? The casino ushered me out and told me to not come back. But I wasn't up. I was convinced they were just trying to not pay me and kept the winning ticket. I hired a private investigator and paid him $5,000. A week later, he came back saying he found something strange. The casino security video wasn't tampered or anything like that. I was indeed on it, counting cards. But there was something else. The man on video had a different name and address to me. He gave me the information, and I drove over, not knowing what to expect. When the door opened, I froze in place. Someone who looked just like me was staring back. I called my mom on video, and after seeing us, she broke down and admitted we were twins, separated at birth, because they only had enough money for one of us. My brother grabbed his documentation, and we drove to the casino. The owner still tried to deny me, but because I still had my winning ticket, I was able to collect my $300,000. My teacher stormed into class and yelled, "Who here watches anime?" 10 of us raised our hands, and she pointed to the door, telling us to go outside. She led us through the hallways in silence to the principal's office, where a police officer was waiting with a notepad. We sat down, and the teacher stood at the front with her arms crossed. "Who has seen Dragon Ball Z?" 9 hands went up, and she pointed at the kid with his hand down. Back to class. She walked over to the principal's computer and pulled up an image. 5 characters from Naruto. "Name them, right now." 2 kids just stared at the screen, and she pointed them to the door. Then she held up a quote and handed out blank slips angrily, telling us to write down what anime it was from. Wrote one piece, but 2 kids handed theirs back empty and left. Me and my friend John were among the 5 left. John was shaking, and I didn't know why, but I saw the police officer note it. The teacher slammed a blank paper in front of everyone with instructions on the board. Finally, draw a face in manga style. 3 of the kids' pencils never moved. The teacher looked at me and John. "You two draw manga, yes?" We nodded and she said, "Good. Go grab your manga art and bring it back here. The rest of you are free to go." We walked out, and I kept wondering what the hell this was about. We came back with our sketchbooks, but this time the teacher's daughter was here too, and she was crying. She was John's crush in our class, but she hadn't raised her hand. Just as I was about to ask,
من همین بمورم اصلا تریدار میقدینش
she stopped on one of John's pages and pointed at it. "That's the one." She wiped her tears.
گو ماما نکو
The
نور
officer stood and walked to John, grabbing his hands and cuffing them behind his back. "You have the right to remain silent." John had a guilty expression as they led him out the door. I stood there confused and shocked. What just happened? The teacher started crying, and the principal spoke for her. "Remember Secret Santa last week?"
La,
Yes.
la, la,
Someone
la.
gave her daughter a hand-drawn
La, la, la,
manga,
la, la.
multiple pages. The teacher spoke through tears. "That manga content, my underage daughter drawn in explicit scenarios with characters from Naruto, Dragon Ball Z, and One Piece," and in the back seat yelled, "There's no cops, just go." So I looked both ways and ran the red light. But as soon as I did, red and blue lights lit up right behind us. Both my friends in the back seat started screaming at me to floor it. I hadn't had a single but they had had enough.
چونی ما
The cop was at my window before I
امرام ده
I handed him my license, and my friend leaned
حالا
over
تو
and
صدقت
told the
بختم
officer, "He's actually a really good driver." The cop raised an eyebrow. "Sir, have you been drinking tonight?" My friend sat up straight. "No, sir. We were at a